Okay, cool. So let's start. Who is already, welcome aboard. I'm Vivian. Who is familiar, I guess many of you, but who is familiar with Apocalypse World and powered by the Apocalypse systems? Okay, so everyone. You will find that the system is globally equivalent to most of them, meaning that the basics of the system are you throw two dice, two d6, and you make the sum, and you look at piece of paper summarizing the actions, and then you see if you succeeded or not. So basically, the universe is, as everyone knows, children that get lost during the rain tend to disappear from the adult world and end up in what is called the city or the wetland. This ghost of a city, we could say, is filled with whatever we find in most cities, with buildings and stuff like that, kind of a mix in between different architectures, Americans, Europeans, etc. The thing is, no adult lives here. They have maybe disappeared, or maybe they were never there. You don't know. Maybe you're in the future or after an apocalypse or something like that. Nothing is sure. The thing is, children are there, but there are also creatures called the sirens that are born out of the water, in fact, of puddles and stuff like that, and the rain itself. Some children will be devoured, others will find a way home, and there will be many, or maybe a few, it depends on their chances, but some of them will continue to wander again and again until they find the fortress of Librete. Librete is some kind of a place where children have rebuilt a society without the adults, but based on the remnants of the adult world. That's the idea. In this, technically, it's supposed to be a chronicle game, you know, with maybe as many powered by the Apocalypse games, maybe 4, 5, 10 sessions, something like that. Here we will play with a one-shot I prepared, where in fact you will play the leaders, in a way, those at the summit of the hierarchy of Librete. That's the idea. You all live, Librete here is a palace, looking like, I don't know if some of you are familiar with the Palazzo Vecchio, I guess, an Italian famous place. I don't know if I can put images on the Hangout itself. I guess I can, but I don't. That would be more convenient. No, nothing happens, so I'm not sure I'm doing it the right way. Yeah, I will put it in the chat. I didn't try this obvious solution. Oh yeah. I don't have the URL, but in a few seconds, I think it will be something like yeah, Palazzo, not Palazzo. Sorry, my Italian is not that good. I found an image. Just time for it to. Yes, this will be it. So the idea is you are the leaders of Librete. You have been for a long time, and you haven't been technically very good leaders, or rather very nice leaders. You have taken advantage of your power. Some of you might even have punished children by throwing them from the top of the ramparts of the fortress, right into the mouth of the gaping sirens under that, just to show the others that you were not joking when you were saying to them that they had to keep quiet. etc., etc. And you have been under the orders of the Duke Lorenzo, who was the guy at the top of the organization. And little by little, feeding the sirens, these monsters have begun to be more and more numerous around the city, more and more pressing, less and less cowardly, because normally they are coward monsters. They prefer to prey on the weak, and that's why they prefer children to grown-ups and stuff like that. And they have been numerous enough, let's say, to begin to attack the fortress itself. So they have invaded the first floor, chased all the crowd that was there, and pushed it to the first floor. You are all living on the second floor. And, well, let's say the crowd is not pleased by what you've done, and they are beginning to rage against you, and they are planning to invade in a way the floor you're in, and to, well, basically overthrow you, and maybe through violence and stuff like that. That's the idea. Plus, the other problem is a few days before, Duke Lorenzo has decided to close himself into his chamber, which happens to be some kind of a bunker that had been created, an armored place with, a code to enter to be able to come in. And he has left you completely alone and desperate for a solution to find or something. So you're trapped in a way, basically. The floor under you is sieged by humans, by your previous subjects that are not happy. Under that and around the city, and around the fortress, it's sirens wanting to hit you, and your leader has disappeared. He's gone. You don't know what happened to him. You don't know why he did that, etc.
Our leader is also a kid?
Yeah, of course.
And do kids grow old in this setting?
Right now, you don't know any kid who is older than 15. So maybe they get old, but you didn't have time to see that happening. You have never seen an older child, in fact.
Okay, but we're aging. We haven't been here that long.
Yeah. Time is not as precise as it was before, considering the fact that adults are not there anymore to tell you about the future and stuff like that. And plus, it's raining almost all the time, and even if there is a sun, it's difficult to really know how time goes by in a way. So if you go to the character sheet, you have 4 pre-constructed characters. I don't know, Sam, if you have the link. No, it's higher on the chat. I will copy it. Here it is. So there are 4 player characters, 4 archetypes. You have Damocles, who is in fact the captain of the guard. He was in fact Lorenzo came to him and asked him in a way to put him in a position of power and to overthrow the previous government. So he helped with his clique, we could say, of guards. Kind of a brute, but with remorse, maybe a little bit late, and haunted in a way by the acts he had to commit. Plus, there is some taint that is beginning to show, and maybe because of the acts he did or something else, we don't know. There is Cordelia, who is Damocles is the archetype of the brute, technically. Cordelia, the archetype of the princess. She was picked in the middle of the crowd by Duke Lorenzo, who chose her to be his duchess in a way, but he didn't seem very interested in, well, all the things that we could have expected. He was only interested in showing her in a way in public demonstrations and stuff like that, and he left her completely alone. So the only thing she had to do was technically to dress beautifully and eat and wait for something to happen. And she's also beginning to have some weird stains on the arms and the legs and stuff like that. She hides behind veils and gloves and stuff like that. Then there is Prudencia. Prudencia is the Duke's cousin. Before that, she was in the so-called rebellion. She conspired against the Duke. She wanted to overthrow him. And then suddenly she realized that sirens were attacking, that the crowd wouldn't be as shy as it was before, and maybe they would overthrow the government before her, and that she wouldn't be able to punish the Duke himself, who is, in fact, she considers is her responsibility or her fate or something like that. She's there to kill him. So she went to the upper levels and revealed herself as the cousin and pretending that she wanted to be part of it and join the upper class and stuff like that, whereas in fact she did that to kill him before the others. And the last one is, so she's the archetype of the loner, meaning that she's not very at ease with social gatherings and stuff like that, and with the beautiful dresses she has to wear now and stuff like that. And finally, you have Mato, who is a little one, meaning that he's the youngest of all. He's kind of a jester, a buffoon, dressed in colorful clothes and stuff like that, saying the truth to others, the ugly truth, of course, mocking people and stuff like that. And everyone hates him, except the Duke, who took him under his protection and allowed him in a way to be as arrogant and bastard as he wanted to be. I think that's it for the characters. Maybe the good thing would be now to quickly explain the system. I don't know, unless you have questions before. No? Okay. So the basics are the same as in Apocalypse World. So you throw 2d6 and you add them together and you compare them to some values. All actions respond to the same rule, meaning that if you do 7 or less, you fail. It's a little bit harsher in a way than in other Apocalypse World games. If you do between 8 and 10, you succeed beautifully, you exactly what you wanted and stuff like that. And if you do 11 or more, you achieve in a way an excessive success, meaning that you get what you wanted, but you go too far. You hurt people you love, you hurt yourself, you destroy resources you will need later and stuff like that. That's basically the idea. As you will see, there are no characteristics in this game. What you will use, in fact, is called black bile. Black bile comes in the shape of tokens normally, but in let's say a virtual game, it's a little bit more difficult. So you will have to note it down on the sheets when you get one. How do you use them? First, if you want to use black bile tokens, you invest them in a test before throwing the dice. Each token equals +1 on the test. Minimum 0, of course. Maximum 3. So, as you see, the more tokens you invest, the less your chances are to fail, but the more your chances are to get an excessive success, of course. How do you get these tokens? You take them when you estimate yourself, not me, not the others, you, the player, when you think that your character is, I don't know, humiliated, afraid, disgusted, things like that. Each time there is something bad happening to him. I can suggest you to take one if you forget, but I'm not the one calling the shots here, really. That's a very important point, especially at the beginning, since mostly you might forget taking some in the heat of the action. The thing is, since it's not, it's not a game where you win or lose as in some other role-playing games. So it's perfectly okay if you say, "Oh, I forgot to take 1 or 2 tokens at this moment," even just before throwing the dice. It's not a problem at all. So do not hesitate to say, "Yes, considering the situation, I should have taken 2 tokens, and I'm taking them now to compensate." That's not a problem at all. What else? Maybe the actions basically are assaulting someone. So when you want to punch someone in the face or steal something from them or just prevent them from acting. Running away when you want to flee a conversation or a dangerous situation. Playing with matches for all the physical actions that are risky. Watching out, that's when you're paying attention to your environment and trying to see if there is danger that you are not aware of. Convincing someone. You can convince other player characters. So we have to pay attention to each other in order not to force people to really do something they don't want to. But there is no, as in other games, the idea of I give you 1 XP if you do this, etc. It's a little bit more forceful in a way. There is also confiding in someone. Maybe this one is a little bit more different than the rest. When you want to share what you have in your heart, and maybe also encourage someone else to share their secrets with you. If you're a little bit more sneaky in a way. And the last one is important, but it's something that I will ask you to do. It's exploding. Exploding happens when you have 5 or more black bile tokens that you haven't spent. I will suggest a course of action that is not very pleasant for your character. And you will make a test with a mandatory investment of 3 tokens. So if you succeed in a way in exploding, you explode and you do the action, and it will lead you to trouble and stuff like that. That's the idea. As you will see, all characters have a specific action. So the brute is able to intimidate someone. The princess can seduce. The loner is able to find things that can be useful. So I guess considering the situation you're in, for the character, it means that she has some stashes, I think it would be the term, if I'm correct. Places she has hidden things from others, maybe a knife or something a little bit more mundane. And the little one is able to be stealthy. So the exact term is, trying to remember, going unnoticed. This means that the other characters cannot do the same thing. So if you want to be discreet and you're not the little one, I will be the one saying if it's successful or not and what will be the price to pay. The little one is the only one to really be discreet if you want to. He wants to be. And once again, considering the situation the characters are in, I guess we could imagine that one of the reasons why you can be discreet is that he knows some hidden passages and stuff like that the others don't know, or maybe because he's small enough to go through them, where the others are a little bit more tall. So in the character sheet, you will see a few things. So you have wound checks, as in many games. We won't spend too much time explaining that. Yeah, it's a little bit slow. So you have a quick description, you have the archetype, then you have a few elements of description. It's important to know that this is how they see you, not how you are to say that not how you see yourself. It's how they see you. You don't have to pay attention to mold checks. It's something that has more to do with the global chronicle and stuff like that. You have also, among other things, I can take black bile when these are just guidelines. It's not mandatory at all. Just use them to help you think about it, but don't think it's the only way to get black bile. As I said, you take black bile when you estimate your character is taking black bile. It's your choice. You have the characters, and you have the okay, I've called chilities the actions, so maybe I will use that, or I will just say actions most of the time. It will be more convenient for everyone. A few advantages. Two characters have mold stains. It's just descriptive elements. It doesn't have any real technical effects. And the children, I think I know, these are the other characters. The only element I haven't talked about is the system of advantages and disadvantages. Depending on the situation, or maybe maybe not a power, but an advantage, not an advantage. Well, a power you have. Let's use power for that. You can benefit from advantages, or I can give you a few disadvantages. An easy example would be if you attack a siren with your bare hands, I guess I will give you maybe 2 disadvantages for that action. If you have more advantages than you have disadvantages, you're in a situation of strength, meaning that after throwing the dice, you can add a +1 if you want. And if you are in a situation of weakness, if you have more disadvantages than advantages, you're in a situation of weakness, and I can remove 1 point from the test after you're thrown the dice. That's it. You will need to understand that, because I think some of the characters have powers linked to these mechanics, so I have to explain it. And that's it for the rules. I don't know if you have questions.
Did you talk about mold?
Sorry?
Did you talk about mold?
Yeah, I talked about mold by saying you don't have to care about that. It's something that is more important when you play on a larger scale. Technically, it's when you're not able to invest the black bile that piles into your body, and you're not able to direct it against people in a way. It begins to sediment into your body and make only one with your entrails and stuff like that, and you begin to change into something else.
Got it.
So the 2 characters that have that have stains on them means that most of the time they don't express their feelings, and they repress them, and they begin to change. That's the idea behind it. Of course, the characters themselves don't really know that. They might see that as a mark of guilt, or an allergy, or something like that. So. Okay, so I guess next step will be to choose characters, depending on. We didn't talk about the. I'm trying to remember the name, but the tools for situations that might be embarrassing for people, such as the X card. So I guess my suggestion would be, if there is a problem, do not hesitate to do the X sign, or to put an X on the chat, and we will go. We will do an ellipse and go to next scene, and with no problem at all. So I don't remember. I guess there are other tools. I don't know if there are others you would like to implement. No. Okay, if you think about any, no problem at all. And maybe the suggestion would be to try, of course, to pay attention to the others, not to destroy their characters right at the beginning of the game and stuff like that. And
yeah, I personally also like the O card.
Okay.
When like stuff gets intense, that you signal yes, no, this is good. Like I might be looking like this is really hurting me and this is intense for my character, but I like it. Let's go to this place, right?
Okay. Let's use this one also. So do you have any preferences for the characters, or maybe sometimes it's easier to think about the character you don't want to play?
Kind of like the Jester. If anyone else wants the Jester character.
They all sound good to me. So
Okay, great. That's
I'm also okay with kind of waiting if people have preferences.
I don't think I do, actually. I've been looking at them for a while and I don't particularly feel one way or another. I think, Sam, that by default probably means that your decision stands.
So, Jester for Sam, that's the idea? That was okay, good.
Yep.
Right.
Any opinions, Matthias?
I like them all. Maybe I'd go for Damocles.
Okay.
That's cool.
All right. So Chris, do you wanna pick? Because I'm pretty happy with those.
Sure. I'll do Prudenzia, the loner then. Of those two. If you're cool being the...
Yes. I'm Cordelia.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I give you maybe 1 minute or two to read the character itself. And ask questions, of course. So everything is perfect for the no questions about the characters, the powers they have, or stuff like that. Okay, perfect. I will just put on your right a map. It's just for you to have an idea of how the palace is itself constructed. You have to imagine that your floor is the one on the top of the map. As you see, there are in fact a few, how to say that, a few shafts inside the building itself, especially one big rectangle right in the middle. This means, in fact, that you have access to the lower floors, especially the rectangle one leads to the main room on the first floor, where all the crowd is most of the time gathering. That's where most of them sleep and talk and etc. etc. You have access to, well, technically a large balcony surrounding it, and you have this overview of them. That's where most of the time Lorenzo did his public messages and stuff like that. Also, I will put you the look of the a little bit long, but yeah, the aspect of this huge room. On the map itself, the part on the upper left consists in the Duke Lorenzo apartments. The main room on the top left is the bunker itself, where he has locked himself. Next to that, maybe there are, a small room where Mato tends to sleep, on a very small bed on the floor, and not something very fancy. There must be also a huge dining room where you all gathered most of the time. You have two servants also, but you don't really know their names. You call them Ancora and Presto, which is not a nice way to talk to them. Ancora is a little bit timid, and she has half of her face burned. You have never known why. Some people suspect Lorenzo himself, but he has never told, and she doesn't talk. And that is Ancora. And Presto is more dignified. He never talk also, unless you ask him to talk. And very professional. And they are very discreet. They are not there to annoy you or to do anything that might anger you at any point. The bottom left part of the map are, in a way, Duchess Cordelia's apartments. So with a boudoir and what's the name of this type of bed? I'm trying to remember. These beds with something covering them and sheets descending on the left, on the sides. I noted it, but I don't remember where I put it.
That's like a 4-poster bed?
Yeah, canopy bed. That was the term I was searching for. And of course, she has a treasure chest and a jewelry box and stuff like that. And she has also a small shrine, small room where to pray. And it's not something that she might have wanted, maybe, but that was there from the previous owner, whoever it might be. And that's where also Prudensia lives. She has her own bedroom, but in the suite of Cordelia. The bottom right and the top right are devoted to the guards. You don't have jails because that was in the basement, and the basement is now impossible to access. So instead, you might use a room of which you have the keys, but that's basically it. And about the bunker, there is a code, an electronic code to type. You don't know the code, of course, and there is a speaker and a camera on it, but you don't know if it's used or if it's working or anything. like a little bit like Hal in the 2000 Space Odyssey movie. A black eye watching you at each time, not far from the dining room. I don't know if I have anything else to add. I guess that's it. Normally, you have two other nobles, let's call them nobles in a way with you. You have Violetta, the kind of people, kind of person to have makeup all over her face. She's very, and the problem is she sweats a lot, including because of the makeup itself. So she is a little bit nasty in a way, not a nice person to go with, and she's always fanning herself in order to remove the sweat. And Henry the French, as you call him, so I will be able to do the accent perfectly. But Henry is a little bit vicious. He has made himself a wig with a carpet. He has cut something, with white long hair. It's a little bit ridiculous, but he finds himself fancy. Okay, that's it, technically. Do you have questions? Anything? No? Okay, perfect. So considering the fact that we are playing virtually, do not hesitate to say when you take black bile tokens. It will be easier for me to and for the others. Even though normally you're not forced to do that, you can do that discreetly and stuff like that. But here we have a few technicalities to deal with. Okay, so I guess the best way to begin is by a dinner. Let's imagine that it has been, what, 3 days, maybe even less, since the disappearance of Duke Lorenzo. The crowd doesn't know it yet. Normally, he would be showing himself on the balcony or something like that, make a public statement and appeal to the sense of responsibility of the crowd. And they are beginning in a way to stir. Yeah, because they feel threatened by the sirens and they don't like you very much, and they are beginning to feel like they don't need you anymore. I didn't tell you that, Damocles, the guards are 10, something like that. Not much. The crowd is itself maybe something like 100 people living down there. You still have food, but not much. But certainly more than people under you. And this is, well, one of your lovely dinners that you have, especially since the disappearance of Duke Lorenzo. So I don't know, how do you cope with that? How do you react or behave, rather? Is it a charming dinner? Are you trying to make conversation? Are you completely silent and dull? You tell me.
I think Cordelia would be taking everything like as normal, business as usual. Just be like, anytime someone's looking over the seats, just to distract them, maybe ask the one of the servants to give them food, or like top up their drink and that sort of thing, just to keep everyone's attention off it. It's only been 2 or 3 days. He's probably just feeling ill.
Okay.
I think Damocles is very quickly scraping the last bits of food from his plate, and looks like he's like making a point of looking grim, even more so than usual. And I guess there's even this thing when I think when Encore comes past to maybe like collect a dirty dish or something, right? Or to refill some drinks. He goes, well, if we let this continue much longer, we won't have much need for encore anymore, will we? As like encore passes.
Yeah, she accelerates a bit when you say her name, just to be sure to remove herself from your reach or your rage. If you don't know.
But the slide was obviously meant, to the other people sitting at the table, right? That we've been too passive, is at least what he's trying to say.
And I think Cordelia shrugs and says, Damocles, isn't that your position here? If you're worried, do your job better.
And the other two, just to before the dialogue kicks in, the other two, how are you behaving or reacting? Or
Mato is just stuffing his face, probably even more disgustingly than he would have done with the Duke here to keep an eye on him. Just like eating with his hands and like wiping them on the tablecloth.
And I'm like fidgeting with my clothes because anytime we have one of these dinners, Cordelia ensures that I am in proper attire, which are these like trains of silks, and so that I look like you're, you know, one tier lower than you, but I can sit next to you and everything is good. And I hate it. But I'll pick at my food, and I don't hate it because I'm not as fancy as you. I hate it because you make me wear this. Picking at my food and generally being kind of silent for now.
okay, sorry for the interruption. So
Yeah, no problem, because I think Damocles is I think Damocles doesn't take shit from anybody except from Cordelia.
yeah.
So he kind of looks down, then looks at the others to like, you all better pretend you didn't hear this. And then he's like, well, we've only got 10 capable guard left. What am I supposed to do? And with the rabble down there, should I arm them? We might need to.
You want to arm the peasantry. The first floorers. Isn't that a bit dangerous?
They all have. I can report from up here that they all have 2 arms currently.
Mato, is that your second plate already?
Ancora?
Yes, sir.
Ancora?
Yes. What do you want, sir? How can I help you?
So sorry, Ancora means another. So it's.
Yes, sir. Yes. I'm sorry. And she brings you anything she finds in the kitchen and gives it to you.
Okay. Yes. Once the second plates arrive, Mato says, "Yes, this is my second plate."
Well, I guess you won't be eating tomorrow, having had your fill today.
I think Cordelia nods like, yes, that's right. No food for you tomorrow.
That's okay. I'll eat Wednesday's food tomorrow.
Yeah. I think Cordelia narrows her eyes at Mano. And then I think she turns to Prudencia at this point in the conversation and says, "What do you think we should do? If you were captain of the guard, what would you do?"
I mean, at a certain point, the people below will find out, won't they? We can't make an elaborate Lorenzo puppet to parade over the balcony. They won't be fooled.
It's true. It's true.
So either we figure out a way to make him come out,
Mm-hmm.
or we live
Or
without
I could
him.
start doing them. If it's just a public address they want, I could show my face once or twice. Or my veil, I guess. Does it? It doesn't. They don't matter. Who do they care? Who's on the throne? I know, and I think she pauses here. Like, I think she was gonna say something like "when I was there," but like, I know they don't always pay that much attention.
What do you suggest? Did you go out there, Cordelia? And there's like a look of worry on Damocles' face.
If it comes to that, I feel we don't need to do anything necessarily about that situation. Lorenzo will come out when he's ready.
I mean, Damocles, what are you so worried about?
They're
A
getting
public
rest.
address seems reasonable enough.
No, up on the balcony, it's just an exposed position. Just yesterday, I had to. We confiscated. Well, it's not really a matter.
It does sound like it matters. What aren't you telling us?
No, I found. I did find some makeshift slings. They were very badly made. I made sure those two won't be touching anytime soon, though. But you never know. We don't know what's going on down there. That's what I'm worried about. Maybe. And I look over at Matto. Maybe someone should try to veneer out down there. To get around. Someone who goes rather unnoticed if they want to be. If they don't want to be seen. And I have this measuring gaze upon Matto. You're muted.
I am muted.
Damocles, you want me to go down there?
Yeah, just hang a bit with the younger kids. I mean, you know, those that just won't push you over.
But what about he looks down at his tablecloth, like checkered tablecloth outfit.
I know you can sneak around real well. I think you'll be fine. And besides, you're not eating anyway tomorrow, so you've got a free day.
Then it is agreed.
Taking a point of black bile.
I think when I say this, then it is agreed. I look at Prudencia last, right? Or at Prudencia at that point, not at Matter.
I just kind of shrug, like.
And I nod as
whatever.
if that's like a confirmation. Good then.
At that moment, you start to hear, doors that get slammed by someone, and you hear the sound of what do you call that? Steel-capped shoes treading on the floor, and you appear with throwing the two doors of the entrance of the dining room. You see Crystal, the lieutenant of the guard, and one of your men. Let's see, who can it be? A guy named Rubik, and they are carrying a guy, a young, maybe not so young, maybe something like 15, 14. It's difficult to say because he has gray hair, which is strange for his age, but and he has been beaten up clearly because his face is all swollen, and he has blood pouring off his nose, and stuff like that. And they are taking him by the arm, each one at a side, and they throw him on the table, on the dining table, and the guy puts blood all over the place, including on you, Cordelia. Your beautiful dress is all stained, and immediately, Prudencia, you recognize Begato. And Crystal, she looks very proud of herself, and she says something like, well, Damocles, I think we have made good progress here today. Look who we found. And Damocles, okay, basically you have already seen him, you don't really know his name. He's one of the, maybe not leaders, but one of the guys that yells higher than the others.
Yeah, Crystal, who is this? What is the meaning here? And I like round the table towards the end where they threw him on the table.
Well, we decided that it was time that someone did something about those rebels here down here, and we surprised him talking with others and about something like other throwing going up, and all the others listened to him. There might have been 20, something like that. Yes, 20, and they were all paying attention. I think we got the leader of the revolt here. His name is Bogato, something like that. Stupid name, anyway.
See, Mata, those names. We need those names of those 20.
Oh, okay, no problem. Good idea.
And
what do we do with this one?
I think I kind of pull up his head by his hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like take a look at him. He seems pretty badly in shape, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We
want to interrogate him yourself, or do you want me to do it for you?
I think at this point, yeah. I think I go and pull him off the table so he's like half standing in my grip, And
Okay.
like, I want to hear those names. Whoever you are, right?
Yeah, he tries to. You don't know if he wants to answer your question or something like that, but you know he tries to talk, and some blood that spills out of his mouth, and he's in no shape to talk. In fact, yeah, he might have 1, 2, or maybe 3 teeth broken in his mouth. And you, Prudentia, you have the impression that suddenly he turns his eye toward you and looks you deeply into the eyes as if begging for something, but you don't know why. But he doesn't betray your secret or anything. Keeps his mouth shut. But maybe it's because he cannot talk right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think I shove him into the arms of Crystal and Rubik again, and I say, lock him up and get someone to clean him up. I need to talk to him. Not like this, though.
Okay, but soon.
Yes. As soon as he's cleaned up and he can actually utter more than a weak pleading for mercy.
Yeah. She looks at the other guy and she says, "Looks clean enough for me." Yeah, and they begin to laugh in a sarcastic way. And they, okay, boss, whatever you want. And they take him back, and you know they drag him on the floor without any mercy. And they go out, leaving a red trail behind them.
I think Cordelia, the first thing that she does is whirls around and goes, "Ah, ruining everything in dinner. I thought you said your people were trained."
They're dealing with attention.
Well, Matto, tomorrow you're going to find out those 20 names.
Matto's gone.
Sorry?
Matto's gone.
Oh, gone. Oh, and yeah, and it's like, oh. Yeah, I think that's where Cordelia's dinner was sort of end, right, at this point.
Yeah, I would also like grab my self-made sword in my coat.
And I think, yeah, I motion to Prudencia, like, we should retire.
Fine.
To get,
I just like whisper under my breath. I'm just like,
yes.
bunch of pointless trouble.
I make a beeline for us at my suite and to fresh new clothes.
So I would be heading towards our prisoner. Kind of have half the feeling I need to watch a little bit over in the cleaning up process, but yeah.
Okay. And Matto?
Matto is hanging out with the servants and just doing his like dumb things to entertain them, making stupid faces and noises, walking, doing his weird crab walk thing that he does.
Okay. Well,
but Matto will go find Prudencia if Prudencia gets to leave the Cordelia suite.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, so you're hanging around the two servants doing the useful work in a way, and annoying them. And at one point or another, you begin to hear a strange noise, something a little bit electric, like parasites coming from the bunker. You know, there is one point, because it's very near the dining room, and you're going from one room to another, and while you're transiting from the kitchen to the dining room, you go next to this part of the building, and you hear this sound coming from the speakers, something like that.
There are speakers.
Yeah.
And so I think there's something going on in the bunker.
You don't know. You've never heard these sounds. In fact, maybe you didn't even ask yourself if there were speakers before, because you didn't even know that it was possible to block the door this way and stuff like that. Well, should have guessed because there was a code next to the door, but Duke Lorenzo never locked himself in. So there was no question about the camera and the speakers and stuff like that. They were never used before. And in fact, during the 3 days of his disappearance, no one ever used them. So no news from Duke Lorenzo through that.
And so what is this sound?
Well, as I said, it looks like, parasites on a radio or something like that right now.
It's like static.
Yeah, static, exactly.
All right. Mato will go to the door of the bunker and listen at the keyhole.
Mm-hmm. Well, there is no keyhole because it's a bunker, so there is it's completely sealed in a way. But you see the speakers a little bit, higher, maybe at the level of the code, and the camera itself comes from that. And there is this black eye, reddish look, as if it was looking at you, but possible to tell really.
Hello, my Duke. It is me, your sweet Martino.
Static, and then a low voice, barely recognizable, saying, "Mato,
are you all?
You?
Yeah, yes, it's me. How do you know it's me? I can eat 100 pies and have. Are you all right in there, my Duke?
I'm so cold here. So cold.
Can I bring
In
you some
the darkness.
Can I bring you some blankets? Can I bring you some cocoa?
Need you, Mato. I am so thirsty.
Okay, cocoa. Cold and thirsty. Anything else?
Static now and nothing else.
Okay. Mato will go back to the kitchen and instruct Ancora and Presto to brew up a big pot of cocoa.
Okay, they hurry up and manage to find some cocoa in the stock. The last piece of you have, and they bring it to you, trembling. It seems urgent.
Don't tell Cordelia. So Mato will only have a little sip because he also loves cocoa. But then he'll go and he'll bring it back to the bunker and knock. My Duke, I have brought you some lovely cocoa.
And the only answer is, well, no sound at all, and this black red eye looking at you without any sign of someone seeing you or noticing that you're here.
I'm going to leave this cocoa right here for you. I know you're probably don't want to come out while I'm looking, but I'll just leave it here. And then Mato leaves.
Okay.
But he hides and keeps watch to see if anyone comes out and takes it.
Okay. I don't know if it's useful to do a test now. I think we'll pass on this one because it's not very important. Or do you want to keep that a secret, or are you about then to tell the others? We don't hear you.
Okay, so first question, does anyone come out?
No.
No one comes out?
Well, I was asking before doing the test, in fact.
Before doing the test. No, Mato keeps it a secret.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we can do a test just for that.
Okay, so this is a test so that, for no one to know about my comings and goings.
In a way, being discreet, everyone, not only the Duke, but also
okay.
The others.
I have 2d6, and let's see what happens. That is a 7, so I fail.
Okay.
Unless I have an advantage of some kind.
No. No disadvantage either.
Okay, so I fail.
Okay, so we will see what happens with the others. So let's go back to Cordelia and Prudencia.
Yeah, I took a black bile for dinner. I did not have what I want, which is just a nice, quiet, normal dinner. And I think Cordelia in the suite with Prudencia goes off straight away about I think gripes to Prudencia about Damocles and the the fact that the guards are unruly, uncouth, they don't have any manners, I'm not even sure they're going to be able to arrange themselves in any good order when the time comes to protect us.
Yeah, you bring this up, and I'm like, I can go have a chat with Damocles. I feel like the guards are making a big deal out of nothing. They grabbed one of the peasants from below, and they're talking about some grand conspiracy.
Did you know that boy? Or is it a boy or girl? Boy. He looked at you.
Seen him.
Funny.
I mean, it's not a secret that I wasn't always up here. I don't remember him, though.
Are you sure?
I think so.
Okay, no matter. Yeah. Let's why don't we try and have I think what I want to do here is do like a confide roll where I just want to spend a nice moment with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it depends if you have time and want to do that. But I think what Cordelia suggests for the evening is some very boring task of going through their silks and separating out the best ones into the good pile that we can grab easily later if we need to, and then the pile we don't like anymore, and just a chat.
Yeah, I think Prudenza grudgingly goes along with it, partially because it means that she can take off the awful silks that she's like wearing on top of her normal clothes and like kind of be herself.
Yeah. I think, and Cordelia's still got the gloves on, but the veil is pulled back a little bit. You can see her skin is itchy and red along her neck where the veil was before. Cool. Do I roll that confide?
Yeah.
That's a good opportunity, I guess. The two of you are okay with that.
Yeah.
I think I will spend. I mean, why not, right? I had one. I'm going to spend my one. And then I'm going to roll 2d6. Let me use this one. Seven plus 1, 8.
8. Perfect success. I don't know if you saw that, but you have a second. Damn, I'm forgetting the name for the. You have a second page on the Google Doc
Mhm.
with the moves. If I can reach them, I can't even reach them myself. So.
On 8 to 10, I temporarily get rid of all those dark thoughts and nasty secrets I had by sharing them.
Yeah, technically, the first effect is you're able to get rid of the black bile just because confining in someone feels good when it works. And then the second effect is you're able to choose an effect for the other one.
Right. I want.
Get that secret.
Just one. I know that's what I definitely want to choose, but I was like, but I also want all these other things. I definitely want one of their secrets.
And of course, it's the other player's choice what secret he gives you.
What secret would I share?
I feel like as we're doing this, Cordelia is probably in a better mood than some other evenings, surprisingly, after what's happened. I guess to you personally, and it's making you feel good, right? And Cordelia is really, really masterful at manipulating people's emotional states a little bit. So you suddenly get feeling, you feel really comfortable. We're getting to a good pace of talking, and then
yeah, let's go with that. I kind of renege back on what I had said earlier, and I open up the fact that I do know Bagato, our new prisoner that Damocles is going to
shortly interrogate.
Yeah.
What do you say? I think we circle back to that topic, and
I think
Cordelia does. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's just like I'm trying to be like political about how I bring it back up, because I don't want to. I'm trying to not reveal too much, but I think it's like, not all of the people down below are bad. They're just, they don't have our food and our fancy clothes, as I like gestured to our multiple piles of silks on the bed that we've been sorting. That one that the guards brought up, he's one of the nice ones, actually.
Nice ones.
I pause and I'm like, there's living down there, there's value in having connections and knowing who to talk to. And if you're just on your own among the 100, that's misery.
So that nice boy, you and him. ... Were ...
I let it kind of be a little unsaid.
Yeah, that's cool. And Cordelia shrugs. It's like, yeah, we've all had those in our pasts. And yeah, I think we can leave the scene there.
Mm-hmm.
Did Cordelia keep her gloves on during this whole thing?
Yep.
Her gloves are fortunately not covered in blood. I think she checks them quite thoroughly.
Okay, so during that time, Damocles.
Yeah, this is the hard cut to someone having a bucket of ice cold water thrown in their face.
Yeah, well,
I guess.
before that, since you have to cross the entire floor to go to the guards' quarters, you pass through the balcony above the crowd, and you can hear some kind of rumble down there. They seem pretty upset by what is happening, even more than before. They're overheated or overheating themselves. If that's possible, and they are yelling at each other and talking, and when you pass, I don't know if you stop there, but even if you do not stop there, you see one of them pointing his finger at you and saying something like, "This is one of them," and they look at you, and some look at you and begin to boo you or to look at you with knives in the look or something like that in the eyes. And you can see that, being the one that most of the time deal with them, that it's becoming pretty serious. Maybe because of the recent arrest.
Yeah, I think I grumbled something to myself in terms of maybe they do need a proper lesson. But I continue on. I don't engage or stop.
Just before you disappear, you can see one of them, a beautiful young boy. Oh, well, young. You're all young, so technically he's approximately your age. He stands on the table and he yells at you, "Where is Begato, you coward?" Just before you disappear, from his view. And you arrive at your quarters. In fact, you have your own room there. Of course, the others sleep in some kind of a dormitory you have set up. And after a few seconds, you find where they are. They have basically put him into a bath tube, and they are putting cold water on his face and rubbing him with whatever they found. Something like maybe, I don't know, a broom or something like that, just to be far away enough not to touch him. So, yeah, let's say they are not doing that properly.
Hold off. Step away. Step away. What are you doing? This is your first time handling a...
Cleaning him, like you said. Is it too dirty for you, sir?
Is this Rubik or Crystal saying this?
Rubik.
I give him a backhanded slap to the face.
Okay. Ow! Okay, he goes to a corner and doesn't try.
I glower at him, and then I turn towards the prisoner and... All right. Come with me, right? And I think I grab him at the scruff, and
Sorry.
no worries. That's cool.
So you grab him by the arm and something like that, and you drag him with you.
Yeah, exactly. To that aforementioned bucket of water, and like I dip his head in to actually like kind of wake him, get him up.
Chloé, il y a Anaïs qui vient me voir là. Ok.
We've also been playing for 1.5 hours, so if we want to take a 5-minute break, that's...
No problem. It's just that she slipped away from the guard of her daughter, mother. She arrived here without her mother knowing, in fact. So that's okay.
Yeah. So
okay. So you bring him to kind of an interrogation chamber or something like that.
Well, it's a bathroom.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah. And I douse him in water and to basically both actually get him a little bit cleaned up and wake him up.
Yeah, he's still groggy, he has troubles because they have even made him even worse than he was before, if that's possible.
Yeah, well, you and I gonna spend some time together now. Guess you feel lucky that you get to talk to me now. That'll make it easier for you. And yeah, I want to I want to force someone to do something by using my reputation or my strength.
Yeah, basically that's intimidating someone here.
And I guess if he's like in that bad of a shape, this is actually me taking my time with him, being very patient, actually cleaning him up, right? And kind of taking care of his wounds and probably spending, I don't know, like the next few hours before he even like is able to properly talk or write something down. Maybe I get right. We'll handle it that way.
Okay. You want to invest black bile in the test or? The idea is the more black bile you invest, the more risks you're taking.
Yeah.
For example, shaking him a little bit or things like that. So it might be a little bit dangerous considering his state.
But no, I'm not actually using any.
Okay. Well, careful, prudent.
Yes. Well, that's a 3.
Oh.
Well, it's good that I didn't use any black bile for that.
Okay, so at one moment, you feel like you're maybe not sharing something, but that he understands you. And for the first time after what, 1 hour, maybe not more, because it's not in state sufficiently healthy to deal with you for 2 hours or 3 hours. So he begins to mumble something, and because of his wounds in his mouth and stuff like that, and you have to get closer to him and say something like, "I'm sorry, what?" or I don't know. And that's when he bites your ear suddenly, and extremely painful. You can take your first wound check. There are no here right now. There are no mechanical effects for just one check. It's the first wound, and then he spits you the part of your mouth to your face, saying, "You can go fuck yourself, you fascist dog."
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm taking bile here.
Okay.
And I think I immediately answer like with an ear-ringing slap to his face.
Yeah.
Grab him by the scruff of his neck, like that, right? And I think I'm gonna pull him out of my apartment.
Yeah.
And towards the towards the balcony.
Okay.
I guess you need to be taught a lesson. Your last one, that is. And I'm gonna hurl him over the balcony, down to the crowd.
Okay, the frail body, tumbles and swirls around before hitting the floor And well, the others, they stand back, horrified by what have just happened, and they look at him, and he doesn't move anymore. And there is this huge silence for a time, and you're here. They raise their eyes towards you.
Yeah, and I point down and yell over out to them. That is what happens to a traitor to Duke Lorenzo.
And they stare at you, and silently, with murder in their eyes, but silence, in pure cold hatred.
And yes, I'm gonna take another bite. I step back, but then I just turn away. I don't even have a better message. And I probably as I turn back, by now Crystal must have noticed that something is going on and come out or something like that, right? And I'm staring daggers at her, half saying, "This is all your fault." But not saying it. There's not an actual accusation that I'm throwing at her.
Well, and for the others, in fact, if you're not in Cordelia's suite, something you might hear might be the silence, because that's something that most of the time there is this low humming, continuous of the crowd under that, and now it's completely silence, deadly silence. And while you, if I've understood, so Cordelia and Prudentia, you go out of the suite once you have finished talking and stuff like that, and you see Matto, hidden behind a wall, looking at the bunker, and right in front of the door there is this cocoa cup waiting, maybe not smoking anymore because time has passed. And this silence, of course.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna ask Automato to tell me what's happened.
Kind of just starts telling you some nonsense that that there were some mice playing, and there's some drama among the mice of the palazzo. There's a vain queen mouse, and a dopey guard mouse, and he sort of the allegory gets closer and closer, and then just abruptly veers off when he gets nervous.
Awesome. I love it. I don't know if there's anything I want particularly in this scene. Can we have seen what happened with yeah, so I guess finding it, I think I don't know. I guess Cordelia actually probably doesn't care. So I don't really have too much concern for the prisoner so much as I am concerned about the threat from those below us, which I will take a while for. So I think that's what Cordelia is worried about. And
I think that in fact you were talking with Matto, the three of you, or the two of you, in fact, with Matto, and when you hear Damocles yelling to the crowd, or shouting at the crowd, rather, his grand declaration, so you don't really understand what has happened. Something like this will teach you not to betray Duke Lorenzo, and then this silence.
Yeah, I think that's what cuts the end of that story up, and we go to see what's happened, right? Because I think there's the body hitting the floor below, which we hear, and then the silence.
Yeah, we'll all scurry over and take a look.
And well, when you go to take a look, the advantage you have, Mato, is maybe you're short enough, when you are at the balcony, for people not to see you, because your head doesn't raise above. And but the others, there are the others looking at you and seeing you come, and you all see what has happened. It's clearly obvious, or the result at least. And maybe, I don't know if you're at the same, because the balcony is basically surrounding the space. So maybe you're not exactly next to Damocles, but you see him on the other side, a few meters away. And I don't know. I leave the rest to you.
I think we definitely don't go next to. I think it's more like maybe the side next to it. But I'm really curious because I think when this happens and I look down at the boy, and then I look over at Prudencia and see what her reaction is.
I think there's like a flicker of this, like, where like the color's drained from my cheeks. But then I pull myself back together because I kind of have to put on this air of being the one who has everything together. Like, that's the role that I've given myself. And I think I pull you back from the further away from the balcony, Cordelia. I'm like, Damocles doesn't tend to think things through, does he?
No, that's why normally I think for him.
Because it does not seem in our interest to cause the people to hate us even more.
I agree. And I think I plan tomorrow. Perhaps I should address them and make peace with them. Surely they will listen to a grand public appearance. I will win them over like I've won many people over.
We can see. We can see.
Mato is going to try and stealthily signal to Prudencia that he wants to talk to her alone.
Sure. I think after, like, we have this, like, there's still the quiet downstairs, and Cordelia and I have this, like, short time, and we just kind of pause, and we're silent with each other for a bit. And that kind of hangs in the air a bit. And then I see Mato, like, getting my attention out of the corner of my eye. And I'm like, I think this is when I break that like serious facade a little bit, and I turn to Cordelia and I'm like, I need a moment to process this on my own.
Okay.
And
you have, during
referring back to that secret that I had shared.
Yeah. And during that time, you have the crowd. They looked at you, and some of them are beginning to take the dead body of Begado. You, Prudencia, you recognize among them, the leaders of the resistance and people like that. I'm trying to remember their names: Roberto, Carla, and others. And they raised their hands at one point or another in silence, which is an obvious sign of the resistance still goes on and stuff like that. And they drag the dead body of their leader, and at one point or another, they look at you, and you see in their face, you know, the fact that you're a betrayer, and you're part of it in a way, and they hate your guts in a way. But as I said, cold hatred, and most of the crowd, except for the people who basically know nothing of what is really going on, and they are just hungry and stuff like that. Most of them just go away from the main room, maybe to prevent the guards from throwing stuff at them, or even maybe shooting, because the guards have maybe one automated weapon, maybe one or two guns, something like that, carefully stocked somewhere safe, that they keep for the last moment. You know yourself that a few people among the crowd itself have also guns that they also keep for the last moment, that you already know. And well, they disappear and they leave maybe a dozen people that don't really understand what's happening.
Yeah. So I take my leave from Cordelia to like go be off on my own, but I actually meet up with Mato.
Mato has reheated the cocoa, and he'll offer you half of it in another cup.
Oh, what's the?
I'm sorry about. I just wanted to say how sorry about how terrible everything is up here. Can't believe you wanted to come be with us so close to the end. If this had been a year or two ago, there would have been parties every night.
Well, I've never was much of the party sort, so doesn't make a difference to me.
You must have really loved your cousin, the Duke, to want to be here, protect him. I know you're tough. I'm not stupid. Sort of.
I feel like I try to go where I'm needed, where I can have the most use.
I think the Duke might be hurt real bad, or in some kind of danger in his bunker.
I wish I had any way of figuring out how to get him to open up.
We got to get in there. He spoke to me.
He spoke to you?
He told me he was cold. He told me he was thirsty. I brought him the cocoa, but then when I brought it there, they didn't say anything. I left it there, but no one came out to get it. We got to get in there. Prancer, you've got to help me get in there.
Strange. Okay. Mato. We can figure this out. And I put like one hand on your little shoulder. I'm picturing that I'm not as tall as Cordelia, but I'm fairly tall for my age, and you're like short for your age.
And kind of like bad posture, like
yeah, you're like the hunchback little 8-year-old boy, right? And I like thank you for letting me know.
Do I really have to go down there tomorrow? I'm a little scared.
It's okay. And I like do that kind of slightly exasperated sign, not at you, but at Cordelia in the distance. I'm like, I don't think you're gonna get out of it, but you are good at sneaking around, and I think you can probably get away with not actually interacting with anyone.
How did you stay safe down there?
by just doing my best to be one of them. You know?
So how are we going to get?
Maybe you don't know.
Not really. I've been up here a long time. They could always tell that I was different when I was down there, and they were horrible to me. They always used to make fun of me, throw rotten food at me. Up here, I get to make fun of them, and they can't reach.
For now.
How do we get into the bunker? Maybe from the outside, the windows?
Not that I... Right now, I don't know a way in. Maybe we can come up with something.
Let's meet here again tomorrow night, and we'll see if either of us can cover the plan.
Sorry, what was that?
Think about it, look around, and let's meet back tomorrow night.
All right, I can. While you're gone tomorrow, I can poke around the bunker.
Meadows kind of gotten distracted, making weird faces in a mirror. Okay, good night.
All right.
He,
Good luck tomorrow.
Downs his cocoa in one go and hops off on all fours.
And you're right, because it's also late indeed in the night, because you had your dinner and then there was interrogation and stuff like that, and the sorting of the clothes, and it must be something like 11 or maybe even midnight. Yeah, in fact, Matto, when you go back, to the bunker, the cocoa has disappeared, apparently.
Really? All right. Well, then I guess I don't take a black vial. That's very interesting. I look at the camera and I wink. And then I go to bed.
And there is then Ancora that goes by and she says, "Oh, Mr. Matto, I hope you don't mind. I pick up the cocoa you left here, and I clean the glass for you." She had this half smile, very very strange considering their face is half burnt.
Matto looks like he's going to cry. He goes to bed. I'm taking the black vial back.
And the thing is, your bed is next, to the. No, sometimes you slept within the bedroom of the master himself, but you also have a bed, not far away from the room, just in case he needs you and shouts for you to come. So technically, you have a view, a permanent view on the closed door, if you wish to maintain it. And so everyone goes to bed? Okay, perfect. So
yes, I sleep in my beautiful canopy bed.
Yeah. With luxurious sheets and things and lace everywhere.
I probably can't sleep.
Yeah, I'm sure most of you don't sleep very well, in fact. But
and I think there comes a point in the night where I just get up and make my way over to Cordelia's quarters and just basically patrol or stand watch outside of them, without ever, I'm not knocking or anything, just to occupy myself and lessen a worry.
Nothing else? Okay. You really stand guard in a way, or is it just a pretext, or do you pay attention to what's happening, stuff like that, Damocles?
Well, it is out of genuine worry, and because I can't sleep anyways, then I think, well, then if I can't sleep, then it's probably better. It's more useful for actually keep watch on her quarters. But I, at some point, probably sleep will catch up with me during the night, right?
Okay. Well, maybe you can still do a watching out test to see what you see.
Oh yeah.
Or if you don't really pay attention, you just have not to invest black bile in it. And if you are a little bit more invested,
yeah, I'm spending 2.
Okay, so that's an investment.
Yeah. All right. Let's see how this roll goes. Good that I did. That's a 5 plus 2 is 7.
Okay, so 7 is a failure. Still.
Oh yeah, right. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I raised the stakes a little bit. I didn't tell you, but when you fail, you keep the black bile.
Oh, okay.
Because it's frustrating, in fact, to fail. So you do not manage to invest the black bile into an exterior outfit. Okay, so you don't see anything. So it's Mato, in fact, in the morning.
Before we do the morning, can we have like a 5-minute break? Seems like
Oh yeah, sure. Sorry, no problem at all. So 5-minute break, starting now.
Sounds good. All right, see ya.
I don't know if I can pause the diffusion. I'm not sure. Broadcasting.
I think usually we just leave it on and everyone just mute and
turns off camera. Yeah.
Yeah, turn off camera.
Yeah, so return at 4.
Yeah.
All right. See you in 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, so back to business. So I was about to say, okay, Mato, very early in the morning, you wake up because of maybe strange sound. You're not sure because you were asleep at that time. And the moment you open your eyes, you see one strange dark figure, above you, leaning above you, bent above you. And the moment you begin to move or make any sign that you're awake, the thing suddenly turns its back and begins to run across the floor.
Is it a person that I recognize, or just a strange figure?
In the dark, it's difficult to say. From the silhouette itself, no.
So it's not. In other words, it's not the Duke.
Normally, no. But it's running toward the door, and you see that it's open.
The door to the bunker?
Exactly.
I'm gonna chase him.
Okay. Well, you will have to hurry because as soon as the thing enters the room, it begins to close the door in your direction. So you will have to do a play with matches. No, a running away. Well,
okay, I'll play with matches, and I will. I guess I'll use my 2 bile that I have.
Okay, so technically it means that in a way maybe you're not paying attention to your own safety. You run as fast as you can, and
that is exactly what is happening.
Okay, perfect.
That is a 10.
Okay, so perfect success. You at the last moment, the door is about to close, and you slip in and get inside the room, and the door closes behind you. At that moment, Damocles, you were awake at that time, and you only hear people beginning to run, and the door closing, and you recognize, because it's a very specific sound, the sound of the door of the bunker closing down. So inside the room itself, Mato, there is only one person in that room, but saying that it's the Duke would be difficult. There is no light first, so you're completely in the dark, and you only hear it breathing in a way very loud, not something very... it's a little bit worrying, to say the least.
Yeah, so I've been in this room many times before, right?
Exactly.
Is there like a light switch or something?
Yeah, and you know where it is.
I'm gonna go flip the lights on.
Okay, so you're trying to reach the lights, and you put it on, and yeah, in front of you is the Duke, and not the Duke at the same time, because the Duke apparently has lost all his hair, his beautiful blonde hair he had before. They're gone completely, and his skin is smooth. Well, it's still smooth, but it's also whitish now, a little bit scaly, we could say, also, and with some oily substance on it. And he is, well, maybe he's not naked. He has his pants, but that's it. He's chest naked and stuff like that. And he doesn't seem very well. And the moment you turn the lights on, you see that he was about to grab you with very long and thin hands. Well, they were long and thin before, but not that much. Not to that point.
My Duke, you look terrible.
You see that he's trying, to speak, but as if his inside organs were not that good anymore to produce the sound of speech. Yeah. Something like that. And his hand begins to, to touch you on the neck. You can feel the cold of it. In fact,
Is this like a threatening touch?
well, let's say that without consent, it's always a little bit frightening to have someone, caressing your neck this way, especially when it's not exactly human, so to speak.
But it's
But
like
it's not violent.
Okay, I'll go give him a hug.
Okay. So you come get closer to him and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
step one of hugging.
Okay, just to be sure. Okay, so you hug him, and for one moment it seems like he is, returning the hug. He's holding his arms around your back, and you can feel, his mouth getting closer to your neck. Also, when he lowers his head toward you, very, very slowly. So you have all the time in the world to, if you want to react.
He looks like he's about to bite my neck.
Or to kiss your neck, you're not sure, but or to whisper something in your ear, maybe.
Unless Matto has some reason to suspect this guy is a vampire, he's gonna hold still for smooches.
Well, at least the Duke normally doesn't behave that way with you. Never. He's not that close to you.
So, if I see like fangs or anything weird like that, Matto's gonna to break free. But otherwise, he's gonna wait until he feels pain.
So in a way, you're trying to watch his mouth just to be sure that he's not doing something improper.
I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in fact, you see his mouth, beginning to open, and you see, fangs like the tiny needles, of some predatory fish, something like that, all over the place. And he begins to, at the same time, he says, "I'm so thirsty, Matto."
Yeah, Matto's gonna pull away, and it's just like not in an aggressive way, just like, well, that's enough hug for now.
Okay, and you see he's not really ready to let go of you, in a sense. So he's grabbing your back and maintaining you, like trying to maintain you next to him.
I'm gonna like wiggle out of his grip and launch into one of my like routines that he likes.
Okay. Okay. Does it need a test right now? No, maybe not. Okay, so you dodge in a way his arms, and then you begin to do one of your tricks, the ones that made him laugh all the time. When he was not happy, or at least smile, maybe not laugh all the time, but smile.
And also do some pratfalls. So, what kind of knowledge would Matto like? Has Matto heard of like Dracula or something from our world?
I guess it's possible that he heard about it, but whatever he heard, there is something wrong with the monster that the Duke has become. And he looks at you, the way you look at a piece of cake after 2 weeks of without eating anything.
My Duke, how did this happen? When did this start?
Please, Matto, just a little sip. It won't hurt you, I promise. You love me. Oh, Martin.
How do I know it'll just be a little sip?
Please come.
All right, you can do it, but only if you open the door so I can yell for help if you can't control yourself.
Yes, Martino. No problem. Whatever you want. And he stretches, an impossible long arm to the switch, and flips it, and you hear the door unlocking at the moment. During that time, Damocles, what were you doing?
Well, going to check out the door about what what happened there. Because I heard the door, so I first thought is someone's coming out.
Yeah.
But that's obviously not the case. Someone went in.
Or yeah, maybe they went out but closed the door behind them, but
and are gone. Yeah, so I'm like looking around, just checking out what.
One obvious thing is that Mato is not in his bed because the bed is almost next to the door, and it's empty.
Yeah, I note that. And I think I go. That sneaky little. And I guess I go and listen at the door.
Oh, the door's open now.
Yeah,
But I think.
And before it opens, in fact, of course, it's very thick, so it's made not to hear what's happening inside.
Oh yeah.
I guess maybe the moment you're beginning to get fed up with waiting for something to happen, is the moment when suddenly there is a click and the thing unlocks right in front of you.
I pull the antenna. That's my sword. Like lowered. And I approach the door and push it further open.
During that time inside, so you let Lorenzo get closer, or
Yeah, I was sincere. I was sincere about that. I'm gonna let him take a little snack.
okay. So he gets closer to you, and well, he opens his mouth big, and that's when suddenly the door opens completely, as if pulled by someone else, and Damocles appears, and the monster that is now Lorenzo, or yeah, he looks at the newcomer and he hisses at him with all his fangs all over the place, and impression of anger.
I immediately take a point of bile.
Okay, that's a good occasion to do so. And Mato, you don't see what's happening because you're turning your back to the door, but you hear that. And I don't know, Damocles, do you have an instinctive reaction, or do you wait for things to unroll?
I'm taken aback because I don't. Is this the Duke? Can it really be him? And that's
okay. Someone made denounced you, so you have 5 black bile. So I suggest an immediate reaction would be to stab the monster in the forefront or something like that.
Yeah, slash out at the strange monstrous face.
So I invite you to do an exploding test. So you have to invest 3 black bites, and unless you want to do so.
No, I want to find out
okay.
how I react here. Yes, that's 13.
13, okay, perfect. So normally, in the longer version of the game, you have to choose between obeying the order or taking black bile. And if you do an excessive success, you take a lot of black bile of mold. Sorry.
Mold, yeah. Yeah, I
the one shot, I think it's better just to obey the thing if you succeed at the test.
Yeah.
So you can discard the 3 black biles you've invested in the exploding test.
Yeah, I lose my tokens, right? Yes, exactly.
No, like any other test. In fact, it's the same system. at this level. And so I guess
I slash out at the monster, right?
yeah, exactly. So how do you do that? As you say, slashing or stabbing, whatever you want.
No, like it's the because I'm at the door and it's got unnaturally long arms, right?
Mm.
So what I do is like the like your typical step forward and slash to the face. So it would be like a with the tip across.
Okay.
Um,
So you leave a long mark, you know. It's kind of it's not exactly blood. It's more oily black that begins to. Damn, I'm forgetting my words. Appearing on the face.
yeah.
And the metal, you can feel some kind of liquid beginning to fall on your neck. There is this moment where the thing doesn't exactly seem not to exactly understand what's happening to it, and with a yell, in a way, it throws Matu on the side and begins to run, hurting you at the same time, in a way to pass by, and he begins to run in the floor. In fact, holding his face into his hands.
Wait, he's running where?
Right now, it's difficult to know. Running to the straight forward, in fact.
Into the bunker or out of the bunker?
No, out of the bunker.
Got it. And did he get to bite me at all or no?
No, not at all.
Okay.
But you've got black goo on you.
Yeah.
It's a little bit fishy, you know. The smell of it.
Damocles, why did you hit him? That was our Duke.
It's a monster. What did he do to the Duke?
He's just thirsty and cold.
What? I chase after the thing.
And you see that it has taken the direction of Cordelia's suite, in fact, directly. And so we have Prudentia that is awakened suddenly by the sound of people running in the corridor just next to her door. And then Cordelia that hears someone. I don't know if you close your door.
I definitely do, yes.
Okay. That's a wise decision.
Very secure in my suite.
Yeah. And you hear something banging at your door suddenly, and it wakes you, gives you a start suddenly, immediately. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and you see, you know, as if the outcome, the intruder was of a tremendous strength. You see the door suddenly slamming against the wall, and the knob completely destroyed by the strength of the heat. And you see this thing, you barely recognize the Duke behind it, and there is blood, or is it blood, all over the face, and it looks at you, and you almost see something human behind these eyes, but not very much. When it says, Cordelia.
At her best, Cordelia doesn't really see much human in anyone but herself. So this thing is a completely inhuman thing to her. And it roars at her, she thinks. And so she screams, I think, takes an immediate bile, screams for Damocles and Prudentia.
At this point, I think I would be like at the door.
Yep. And I think it's like screaming, but like not so much like help me, so much as I order you to kill it now with fire.
Gotta maintain your image.
So I think that's how I deal with that situation.
And I guess that Damocles and Mato are here too, no? Because you followed the thing shortly before.
Yeah, like at first chance I have, I'm going to like stab it and assault it.
Yeah.
Without.
And just before that, you see the thing that was the Duke, beginning to get closer to Cordelia, advancing itself, raising a hand.
This with no regard for myself is that I try to run it through with my sword, like using basically my charge and piling my body against it as well, if this goes well, at least.
Okay, I guess an assaulting someone test would be a good opportunity.
Yeah, I'm using 2 bile. 7, 8, 9.
Oh, okay. So perfect success. So, well, basically you stab it right through whatever heart it has. If it has a heart, it was difficult already for Duke Lorenzo. So for this beast, it's even more difficult to tell.
Do I need to choose one of these?
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm definitely choosing. I see something important for the other, and that is Cordelia's safety. Right. I think I run it through with my sword and barrel into it. So so I drive it to the other side of the room against the wall. So there's like a free Cordelia can get out if she wants to.
Okay, so the monster is still alive, but at least you protect Cordelia entirely.
Yes, that's the priority.
And you show it to the others. Everyone knows that you did that to protect her. Obvious. Okay. The others, you know something?
I think with this opening, with Damocles kind of stabbing at Lorenzo and shoving him out of the way, I would come in and try to go for his throat.
What?
Does the monster, does Lorenzo still seem like a threat to me as I'm doing this, or?
Yeah, I think it's still a threat, in fact.
Okay. Then I'm just...
It's difficult to tell, really, because it seems a little bit pathetic at the same time. But all the monstrous features, difficult to tell if it's still dangerous or if it's not.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take the advantage of the situation and leap into... I pull out this little knife that I've been carrying inside my belt, and I just leap in to slash at its throat.
Okay, so since you've been, you had been searched when you arrived in this situation, in this company and stuff like that, what you have on you is really a very small knife, something like for the nails or something like that, scissors, maybe. To have something a little bit bigger, you would have had to find one of your stashes. Okay, but you have that. That's something.
Yeah, so I might be a little undergunned, a little underpowered for this, but I just kind of give in to the situation.
Okay.
So I think this would be me assaulting Lorenzo while I'm a little overpowered. I'm not.
Yes, because I would have given you at least one disadvantage. I will give you one, considering the situation.
Yeah, so for my crazy witch, I get one additional advantage.
Okay, so it's in a way put the things on the same level, so no advantage, no disadvantage in a way, so a neutral test.
Okay. And I'll add. I'll spend 2 black bile.
Okay.
On this. Let me roll these and see how that goes. That's an 8 then. I rolled the 6 plus the 2 black
Perfect.
bile.
Okay, so you stab it where, in fact?
I'm just like going for the throat.
Okay.
Because I still have this like deep-seated desire to basically rip off Lorenzo's head and throw it to the peasants. And I'm just giving, like, this is as close to Lorenzo as I'm gonna get.
It will be a little bit long, but yeah, with one swift stroke, there is all these blood gushes out of the wounds, of the gaping wound, and covers your face immediately. And the thing begins, trying to grab its throat or close the wound. You don't really know, but it's incapable of doing anything like that. And
I just keep stabbing at its neck.
Okay, so you make
like the image of these like this one half of a scissors that I've like sharpened up a little bit, and I'm just like hacking at its neck.
And one strike after another, you reduce the neck to some kind of pulpy stuff. You begin to feel the bone behind it, and you see that the bones are not exactly bones anymore. That there are the thing that there are inside the fish fins. Trying to remember the exact term for the skeleton of the fish. Sorry.
Where it has
fish bones.
Yeah.
But where it has the really thin
exactly
bones that come out.
And you see gutties, that type of things. The thing expires after a while.
I think I'm just like, at this point, I'm just like sitting on top of its torso with like the scissors in one hand, and I'm just coated in the oily liquid, and there's just like this puddle on the floor.
I think we're all just staring at you.
Cordelia I think Cordelia is running away from the situation. I don't know if she was, wants to stay in, like, especially in the second half of this. Yeah, go ahead.
Mato is crying, just like bawling, and he comes over and starts just like hitting Prudencia, not like with anything, just his fists. And saying he's actually, I don't think he's really saying anything coherent.
But just like the weak-willed, like slapping me with your fists kind of.
Yeah, it's like as hard as an 8-year-old kid could hit.
Yeah.
It's just not that hard.
I think I'm just sitting there letting you.
And then I guess there is this moment where nothing happens, and then you hear from somewhere else a gunshot or something like that. That storms.
I whip around and I'm immediately recognize Cordelia isn't here anymore.
Yeah.
And I just curse and run out the door, and I call for Krista, Crystal, and the guard in general to like get their asses out of their bed. Like, we're being attacked by fish monsters that pretend to be the Duke or whatever else, and obviously someone with a gun now. So I'm just yelling and causing a ruckus to get people and like to hopefully see where Cordelia went off to. But
yeah, did I run outside just to get to come into this new trouble?
So where did you go? In fact, where did you run?
I think I don't really have a place, but when I just didn't want to be there anymore, and I didn't feel like so I just left. And I think I find myself in like the more like the kitchen area, maybe like, or the, it's a homely place comparatively. And I think that's where I find myself, or at least where I'm heading, without really knowing it.
Yeah, well, the kitchen is basically empty, in fact, because the servants have not taken the service yet. But you hear these you hear yellings and fights, and then there is this gunshot that resonates not far away from where you are. In fact, the idea is there are several stairs leading to the floor you're in, and there are guards that are constantly standing watch at these points, and it's coming not far from here. One of these accesses, in fact.
Yeah, I definitely don't think I'm in a safe place, and I will be happy to make a test to watch out to not get caught up in it if I can.
Okay.
So I'm going to spend 1 black bile.
Okay.
And roll 2d6. 7. 7 is not. Oh, plus 1 though. I spent 1. So yeah, so 8. Oh, we're rolling so well.
So it's a splendid
Makes it
success.
hard for you.
So you exactly know where the trouble is coming from. You know that it's an access not far away from where you are, in fact. And you can hear people, well, in fact, you can hear some of the guards of Damocles fighting with the people from the downside. And there are things that you hear that make you understand who is fighting whom, in a way. They are,
I think this helps Cordelia make up her mind of what to do next. And she was heading towards the kitchen anyway, but what she does is she goes to the servant. What was her name? Our servant.
Oh, okay.
And
Cora or Presto.
Cora, yeah. And Cora, and I.
Cora is the one with the face.
Yeah. But she's also the one with scruffy clothing that will fit me.
Okay.
Wake
her up.
And I think, wake her up. Tell her to take everything off, and I think she'd be confused. And I'm so sorry for this, Cora. But yes, I'm gonna take your clothes, and I'm gonna tell swap clothes with her, and I'm just going to be horrible. I'm gonna take a black bile for that. Yep.
You give her your clothes.
Yep.
Okay, and you tell her to get dressed like you were.
Yeah. Or I give her, take this if you want it. I think she's confusedly putting it on though. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So you're dressed like a servant now. Okay. So and then.
Question though, do you keep your gloves on, or do you take them off?
That's what I think. I take them off, and then you can see where all of this rash is, and it's super itchy. But I think the scratching will make me look more like a servant sleeping on the floor. But I think I take a whole bunch of soot from the fireplace and I rub it all over my arms and face and neck as well. So now it's super itchy, but kind of gross mix that is of soot and itchy, flaky skin.
And then she's here, in your clothes that don't fit her at all, and she's very confused, and she doesn't dare to look at you, and she looks at the ground, and
yeah, I think I say, stay here. I will send Damocles for you, Damocles up for you in a bit. just stay here. And stay safe.
Okay, madam. I will.
Yeah.
And you know she doesn't understand a thing about what's happening to her and why you wanted that.
Yeah. Yep.
And where do you go then, in fact?
I think I feel like I send someone else, just whoever I grab, or maybe like I don't know if it's Vado who's around, but the first person I see who probably doesn't necessarily recognize me, I grab, but I tell them to tell Damocles to protect this area, and I'm not even sure that command's going to go through. But I think what I do is I find one of a room, like a room or a corridor near like a stairwell that could possibly lead out at some point, and I think I just sit down in like a tucked away in a corner or in a cupboard or something and just sort of keep watch. I'm not particularly good at hiding though, so I don't think I find a good hiding spot. Just find a corner of a room somewhere.
Okay. The others.
Well, I'm facing for and heading towards wherever the noise is coming from, calling for the other guards. And
well, you see Crystal and maybe another guard, and you know they are already organizing to respond to the attack. And apparently she has her gun, or one of your guns, in fact, and she has used it. That's where the gunshot came from. And she has shot one of the rebels. And you have barricades in your escalator in the stairs, and people have climbed up those barricades, and there are people now everywhere, and you know she's aiming at people randomly and shooting, and while the others are trying to repel them out of the barricades, and you hear shouts from other accesses, stuff like that.
yeah, I think I like slash at one that's coming at the side of hers, right? And I'm like, have you seen Cordelia come by?
What?
Cordelia!
No. Who cares? They're attacking. Help us.
We gotta pull back. And I'm like, jump forward to give someone a slash and a stab, right? Where's she? I need to find her.
Leave that bitch. Who cares?
I just grind my teeth at her, and I'm like, who cares? The Duke's dead. You're following her now. Do you understand? And I like turn and actually like face her and look her in the eyes to see if like she gets it, right? Cordelia's in charge now, is what I'm trying to convey.
Okay. You will have to convince her, because she doesn't really believe that this woman is able to lead anyone, in fact.
Yep, I don't have any bile anymore, so we'll see how this goes.
Do not hesitate to take some if you think it's...
Well, for being attacked, yeah. Like I didn't take one for being attacked, that's true. So it's gonna be +1 then. And lucky, yeah, that's an 8.
Okay. So you want her to do what exactly?
To recognize if she's defending anybody up here, it has to be Cordelia because she's the next in line. If the Duke is dead, then that's where her duty lies.
Okay, so there is this moment, when she thinks, and that it's not out of. Well, she doesn't like Cordelia still. She hates her, but the thing is, she understands your point, and she says, "Okay. What do we do now?
Let's pull back and find her. They're coming up from the other stairs as well. Call everyone back." And I kind of run past her.
Yeah, she gives order to the guy next to her to hold the line, and then she falls back and begins searching for Cordelia. Okay, so Mato, Prudentia.
I think I'm just staying in Cordelia's room, and I'm just in my essentially underclothes, or it's kind of like my pajamas, where it's I've taken off all because I was in bed before this. I'm not wearing any of the fancy silks. It's just like a tank top and a pair of grimy pants or something. And I'm sitting on top of the corpse still. I think I'm just watching people come upstairs and all of this commotion.
Mm-hmm.
Of because I'm trying to figure out, have I really finished what I came here to do? As I look down at what was supposedly the Duke. And I'm just trying to process this. And I think the other bit is that in the back of my head, I have the worry that the Duke isn't the only one. That the Sirens might be taking advantage of this situation on the outside. But I don't act on that yet.
Mato eventually gets tired of punching Prudencia, and then just lies on the floor and seems to be asleep.
I think maybe I like the, if you're okay with this, Mato, I like the image of you finish punching me, and that's when I finally get off the corpse, and maybe you're crashing from this emotional state, and maybe I rest your head in my lap or something.
That's great.
And we're just kind of sitting there.
Du coup, Damocles. So you're searching for Cordelia, I guess?
Yeah, frantically, right, running through the rooms.
Yelling for her.
Yeah, losing ground. Probably towards the rebels. Yeah.
And you have Crystal, Crystal coming back at you with, Ancora.
Mm-hmm.
And she throws her at your feet, and she says, "What's the mess? I found this one. She's wearing a dress.
What is going on?" I just yell at Ancora, right? Where is she?
Crying and
I
don't know. She gave me her clothes. Please, sir, don't hurt me.
Where did you see her?
She right in my room.
I run towards her room, finish.
And of course, the room is empty now.
Yeah. Of course.
And during that time, Cordelia, you see that the invaders have, they have succeeded in setting foot on the third floor. And so there are people everywhere fighting, yelling, and stuff like that. What do you do? And they're arriving basically, or not, they are near your corridor, and soon enough they will find you there.
I try to blend in, right? I'm trying to appear as one of them, and hopefully in the panic, in the rush, I'll just be another face in the crowd.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so
yes.
you play what's the revolutionary, or the poor servant that was just a victim and is wanting to get free, or
I have so my special ability is that I'm good at seducing, I guess, getting what I want with smiles and empty promises. I think what I do is, I play that servant, to I've heard enough that I can see who's sort of leading this particular front. I say, please, I'm just the promises is they are this in these places, right? Like, I'll show you the way, not show you, but I can direct you in the way, and you leave me alone, let me join your cause, etc. Just lose me in the crowd.
So yeah, there is one of the revolutionaries. You know, he grabs your hand at one point and says, "You were there? No, you're one of them."
Do I look? No, I'm sorry. Please, the rest of the powdered nobles, they're in they hold up in the dining room. I think I'll say dining room. They have the guard there. We've been left out here to fend for ourselves. Please don't kill me.
And I think it's a good occasion, a good opportunity to do the seducing test.
Yes. I think she goes as far as to grab his shirt with her like sooted hands. How much bile do I want to spend? I will spend 2. Go down to 1.
Can I add a little something before you actually do the roll?
Absolutely.
Because what do you think about as this is happening, there's a commotion down the hall, and it's actually that Damocles breaks through like a door, punches a rebel, and it's like just yelling for Cordelia. Maybe like even that he's looking over, but probably not recognizing it. Who knows how your roll goes, right? But if it goes your way, then you actually can like see him and not say goodbye and just vanish into the crowd. He's still looking for you.
Yeah, cool. I will roll. We'll see how it goes. Not well. I failed. So 5 + 2 is 7, which is still not a success.
Yeah.
So I will take my bile back.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna work.
And for a moment, the guy seems like he is believing you. And then there is I don't know, Damocles, do you want to be the one that betrays her, or
that I recognize? Yes.
Yeah.
Like I look past over the crowd, right? And then my head snaps back and I'm like, Cordelia!
I think when I hear my name, it's like that instinctual thing where you turn because someone said your name.
Yeah.
God.
And then, and there are others that jump at you, Damocles, and prevent you from reaching her.
Mm-hmm.
And all the other guards around her, the other revolutionaries, they turn to her and they say, "Oh, God. I knew it. It's Duchess Cordelia. You will come with us, my lady." And they grab your fist and your wrist, and they hold it very tight, and you can smell their breath next to you, horrible breath. I don't know, Damocles, do you do something, maybe?
Well, like my goal is to fight through them to get at Cordelia, right?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
this is what I'm here for.
Yeah.
To save
for sure.
Cordelia, obviously.
So,
Sorry, I just one detail. When they do recognize me and then grab
Yeah.
me and pull me down, I think Cordelia like stands up to her full height and like casts off that thing, and at least she looks proud, captured but proud.
okay, yes. Going out, but with a proudful look on her face. Even though she's covered, with a suit and and things like that. Okay, so Timocles, I invite you to do an assaulting someone test, or even maybe, well, it's the same thing, but a running away test in a way, because you're trying to run away with her.
Yeah.
But you will have 2 disadvantages. If you don't have any advantage, it doesn't change much, but you will be most probably in a situation of weakness.
Yeah, I don't know how much trained when I'm assaulting someone with a weapon. I can use the advantage.
Yeah, with your antenna, it's 1 advantage.
Okay, so that doesn't cancel out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't cancel. So I might remove 1 point.
Yeah. Does this make you might remove 1 point? Yeah, then it doesn't make sense to spend the bile here. Huh? It does. I'm spending 1 bile.
There's not much to save bile for. I think this is close to the end.
Well, that's a 4. It's a 5 with that 1 bile. So I guess this goes horribly wrong.
I've never seen so few excessive success in any game. Okay, so it's a failure.
Yeah.
Okay, so you begin. You're trying to reach Cordelia, and they're arriving at you more and more. I don't know how you react, if you yell her name or something like that in one final gesture.
Yeah, like the fighting becomes very messy.
Yeah.
It completely dissolves into anything resembling like an orderly kind of fight. It's scratching, biting people, and I think I'm just overwhelmed by the sheer number of them. And then like someone pulls Cordelia around the corner, so I even lose like sight of you or something, right? Yeah. Or push me into a room or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. At one point or another, you have one of them grabbing a knife and driving it into your belly, and you feel the pain, and they let you, fall on the floor and bleed there, holding your wounds. And Cordelia, you're dragged down the stairs with the men, the people yelling at you, spitting at you and stuff like that, like some kind of Marie Antoinette's descendants in a way. And for the 2 others that are in a way, well, close to each other, you at one point or another, you will see people entering the room, and as soon as they see you, they say, "Oh, look there! It's a traitress!" and the dwarf there, and they look at you with hatred, and they come at you. Well, basically to deal with you, definitely.
As the first person to the first of the rebels to enter the doorway,
Yeah.
I think I grab the corpse by the head, maybe 2-handed because I'm not that strong, and I kind of fling it towards the door, and I'm like, here's the one you want.
Okay, there.
I fulfilled my end.
As soon as they see the head.
That's what's left of the Duke. That's payment for Bagato. So maybe this is a convince.
Yeah, I think it is the convince.
Yeah.
How much value you got?
I give you one advantage, maybe, or maybe it's compensated by the fact that they want blood. So maybe it's no disadvantage and no advantage either because you have the head.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to spend the 1 black bile that I have.
Okay.
And roll convince. I rolled an 11, so that's a 12 with the black bile. So yeah, I go too far.
Okay. I'm taking a few seconds to think about this situation. Okay. Well, when they see the Duke, there is this moment where they say nothing and they are completely frozen by just the view of the monster.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, they fall on their knees, completely stricken by what has happened, and they look at you as if they were waiting for your orders, something like that.
I'm just like,
what should we do? Tell us.
This is the moment you've been waiting for, I think. This is the time to seize control.
But what about Cordelia? We have her.
I don't know if yeah. I'm like, I don't. She's ultimately harmless, but I can't. That's in your hands.
Yeah, they nod as if they understand what you said. What about the dwarf, madam?
I'll deal with the dwarf.
Bravely, they leave the room. And Cordelia, you're surrounded by people and they are still asking what they will do to you. And at one point or another, someone arrives, running and saying, I got the orders from Prudencia. She said to kill the Duchess.
Oh.
And they all, raise their hands and say, hooray, death to the Duchess. And they begin to bring you and to, how to call that? Sorry, just a second. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think, yeah, go ahead. I'm just trying to think of like I think there's a silk that I am wearing.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pocket handkerchief. It's the one thing I kept that I know Prudencia has like a pair, right? And I like sort of scrunch it in my hand in my pocket.
Okay.
And I don't
yeah,
suppose there's any chance to try to run away here. I think I don't think so though.
No, I think it will be a little bit difficult. It might be so at one point. Maybe we can do a test. In fact, they bring you to the first floor. You are at the first floor, and they are bringing you. You can see to how to call that. wall coverings, you know, things very huge tapestries or something like that, sheets of color that hang from the balcony, and you can see that they will try to, you know, put that around your neck and hang you by throwing you out of the into the void. But you have maybe one chance by jumping through the window.
I think I want to convince maybe convince them to turn me out instead, right? Like I'll rather try my luck outside of this fortress.
I think that's the option you missed in a way when you tried to seduce them.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Your only option is more physical in a way, running away or punching people. Or...
Yeah, let's try it. Cordelia's bad at physical things.
Yeah, sure,
but she has to do it. She's got to try. So how much bile do I have? Many. I'm gonna spend 3.
Yeah.
And I will roll. 6 plus 3 is 9.
Okay, perfect. So your only chance, because if you run through the crowd, they will catch you at one point or another. So your only chance is to go through a window. And so the nice thing is it's the first floor, so it's not the second, so it's a little bit more doable. And you jump through the it's like some kind of a church, you know, with color panels and stuff like that, and you go through that, and you're covered with shards, and you land on the floor, and maybe you strain an ankle at the same time, but you're alive and you didn't break a leg, and you're able to maybe not run, but limp, but a little bit fast, and they didn't expect that, and you're outside, but you can already see, you know, movements around you.
Yep.
In the narrow streets and stuff like that, with creatures hungry for your flesh.
Yeah.
So I let you try the last.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that is that. I think where we ended with Cordelia is like that. In her eyes, this is an echo of what she's seen before, and she's been through this once. And maybe if she's lucky, she'll be through this a second time, but she's not too sure about that.
Good. We continue with Prudensia and Matto. So they have left you alone in the room.
I think I nudge Matto awake at this point. If you were still asleep, that's what I was picturing.
Yeah, Matto wakes up.
Like I don't think we should stay up here.
You want to go back down there?
I think we need to go downstairs.
People are so horrible to me down there.
It's like I know it's hard down there. But people suck everywhere. People are awful everywhere. Doesn't matter where you go. So at least if we both go down there, we'll have each other.
All right, Matto will take Prudensia's hand.
Okay. I think I try to lead us through the commotion back downstairs.
Well, apparently word has run among the crowd, and when you walk among them, they stop and they look at you, you know, like some kind of a king or something like that, or a queen. You can see that they consider you now their leader, in fact, entirely. and there is some respectful silence when you walk. And
it makes me supremely uncomfortable.
I guess so. And you see, you're walking, and you see the body of Damocles, who is not exactly dead, but dying on the floor.
Mm-hmm. I just put my head like down, stare at the floor, and keep walking.
Damocles, one last word, maybe. I don't know if you want.
No, it's an empty stare. I recognize, but I don't. There's no effort of anything coming from my throat.
Okay.
Those eyes will follow you for the rest of your life. That kind of stare.
And is that the end?
I guess so. If you want to describe the a little bit more, you can. Or otherwise, we can stop there.
No, I think that's a perfect place to stop, actually.
Okay.
It's a good image.
So I will stop the broadcasting now, and